I believe we're the last panel of the day, possibly. But either way, hello everyone. I'd like to make this as fun as possible. So today we're going over how influencers and content can onboard more people onto Web3. I want to start with some intros first. So let's start with you, Andrew, and we can go down.
Hey everybody, my name is Andrew Weiner, Vice President of WEEX Global. If you're unfamiliar with that name, we were founded in 2018. We went to market with our product in 2020. For the first 4 years, we organically built an audience of 2 million traders. And today, we've localized fully to English. We raised $100 million for growth and marketing, and we've hyperscaled in the last 8 months to 6 million users in 200 countries worldwide. We're a centralized exchange where you could trade fully leveraged futures on altcoins. We have the best depth and spread of liquidity on altcoins.
I guess it's my turn. Hi, I'm Anndy Lian. I'm a book author, fund manager. I also give advice to different government. So other than that, I invest heavily in different projects. I'm also a fund manager with MemeCore, one of these new layer 1 meme-driven blockchain. And then just find me on Twitter, Thanks.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dan, and apparently they needed a fourth person, so I'm here to talk about crypto and stuff. I represent Retail DAO. We help people get started in crypto and find investments and navigate the crypto markets.
Awesome. My name is Emily. I'm the CMO of Hype. We're a full-service go-to-market agency, so we have worked with KOLs and influencers. I'm really excited because we have 2 people here that may have hired or found influencers, and we also have an influencer or KOL on stage as well. So let's just start, let's just go straight into it. What are the worst mistakes you made with influencer marketing? I'd like to start with Andrew.
Yeah, the worst mistake you can make with influencer marketing is paying people to say something's good without them authentically using it. Genuine product user experiences for today's consumer are most important. People no longer want to be sold to. They want to see and be educated on how things actually work and function so they themselves can execute sophisticated high-risk strategies, the fastest way to grow your crypto wealth and portfolio.
And for you, Dan, I know you may not self-proclaim yourself as a KOL or influencer, but when a company is saying here, take my money, please talk about us, what do you say to that?
Well, first off, I have to tell them it is going to be sponsored content, and I have to find out if it's a company that's going to be around in a few years, because many won't.
Okay, is there any more provocative takes on where, maybe you, Andy, especially since you have invested in meme coins or you have a fund that may invest in meme coins?
Sure. I think in general, I do not believe in product. Because I look at the community first, because I don't run an exchange, right? So I look at projects, I look at if someone is really buying the project, are they having fun with the project? And if the community is strong, I would just, okay, let's make some buys, right? So on my end is more straightforward. But then coming back to your question about KOLs and so forth, I think the worst kind of KOLs that I have met is those who do not sell early. So a lot of people are just complaining, KOLs are selling very early, right? They see the pump, they sell. Oh, I don't care, man. You can sell as early as you can, right? Because if you are bullish of your project, right? So what is 50 mil market cap, right? It's going to go to 100 mil. And then if he's still holding on to the token and they sell by then, the whole community is going to be losing a lot more, right? So my perspective is you work with those KOLs, just have a short-term mindset. Everybody is talking about a big-time marriage. I'm going to hold hands with the KOL for the next 5 years. But then like what Dan is saying, they'll be gone in three months, So that's my 5 cents worth.
And I'd love to add to that because you raised an excellent point. It's not so much about the go-to-market strategy. That's only going to get you so far. At some point, consumers and a community have to actually want to engage with this and use this product. And that's when you can kind of, like Coca-Cola. Who here really needs to see a Coke advertisement if you're considering buying a soda pop? At some point, you just hit that momentum phase where people are really supporting the project through their activity organically, and you don't have to pay people to get that messaging out there.
So we have a few opinions on the stage right now, and I'm sure there's nuance to it. You're saying focus on product. Andy is saying don't focus on product. It just, the vibes are what matters. Dan, I'm curious, when you are getting paid for a project or when you are investing in a token, what influences you as a KOL or a content creator to take it on?
That is a good question. For myself, I'm investor first, so I'm very slow with making content. And if I do make content, it might be something I'm interested in, or I think that will perform well, or something that like I'd really like to share. Or if someone's asking me how to do that, I just want to share it one time so they don't ask me again. And that's kind of how my channel started. I had a friend who wanted to know how Coinbase works. I was like, all right, I'll just make a video because you're not going to get this. And just walking through them steps. So I found success through creating content that I think is helpful and that is searchable. And I already forgot what the question was that we started with. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move into what actually are effective KOL strategies. I first want to start and say that, Andy, you mentioned the worst type of KOLs. So that's already implying there's different types of KOLs. What are some types of KOLs that you've worked with, Andrew?
I mean, in all the years I've been in crypto, we've seen everything from shill marketing to, bot sharing posting, and the best ones clearly are the ones that are actually using products and services and showing you the highs and the lows, not just curating some perfect, magic, unrealistic experience for you of how something's going to perform or how well it's going to do, but actually being there with you in a short, not just a long, and being able to give you clear milestones along the roadmap of the project's development plan of are they succeeding? Are they meeting these promises since the generation event?
Yeah, I notice me as a marketer, I tend to be really objective, so I tend to be super negative. And I would love to see content of people not just bullet posting, but telling me why a token dropped and if it's going to drop further, and also any shade. So if somebody is making that content, find me after and I'll follow you. I'm curious about you, Andy, because you were the one that brought up the worst KOL ever. What are the different types of KOLs you've worked with?
Oh, I work with many different kinds, but first of all, I think the word key opinion leader is kind of bullshit, right? Every mother's son is the KOL right now, right? And then some with 5,000, they are KOL. Then if you go to the Chinese market, or some of them a few 100,000, and then they only have like 2 likes, then they are KOL. So I think we need to be very objective, right? Because if you are a marketer or if you are a project, you got to be very objective. So first of all, first line is if you want to create awareness, right? There's a lot of these botted KOL. You can use them, just to get the numbers up. Right. Then after which, some of them, they will claim that they are KOL again, but they are more like the shiller. They shill to the air, right? That's also fine because that is the awareness period. But then when you hit a certain milestone where people take you a little bit more seriously, then you have to go for some of these KOL that are of a higher tier, where they can actually call some of this play, right? They are like a core group KOL. They can, okay, I'm going to get my group in, and then I'm going to buy your chart and so forth. That kind of KOL, right? Then last but not least, you really need some really good KOLs that can really substantiate the whole price and give you a good nice shout out, right? Of course, you can always choose people like one of my friends, like Mario, for example. He does a lot of round table spaces. But of course, if you can get higher ones, you can convince maybe Arthur Hayes or maybe CZ to give you a post. Or then that could be the ultimate KOL, right? So to me, some of them are really paid, some of them are not paid, some of them believe in you. This is the different stages of marketing, right? So there's no one solution for everybody, right?
Emily, you mentioned you wanted to know about people creating content, about like why a coin went down. From my side as a content creator, people hate bad news. They want to know 100x, what's pumping, what to get involved in. And that's kind of the markets we try to navigate marketing to.
Yeah, both of your comments are really interesting. I mean, first, Andy, you are describing the marketing funnel with KOL integrity, it seems like. It sounds like step one of awareness. Let's just get a mass amount of bots. And then we get some real humans, but they are shillers and they're bull posters. And then the highest end tier is people that have trust and built trust with their audience and community. And then to your point, Dan, I completely agree with you. People, especially right now in a bull market, we're noticing more people come to us like, hey, do you guys do TikTok content? And whenever you go to a channel like TikTok, it is always talking about price speculation and price action. So let's actually talk more about two other concepts. I'd love to touch on pre-token. Have any of you had experience hiring influencers or KOLs or working with projects that are pre-token, and how do you make it effective?
Well, we try to empower content creators, especially leading up to a generation event. The token that's going to be issued is building an organic audience somewhere on a DEX that's not on a centralized exchange. So as a centralized exchange, we're really interested in that market share, those users that are going to be coming from there. So to empower the content creator and the project themselves, by making either of them affiliates and giving them some type of incentive to bring that audience with them to the centralized exchange once they hit that maturity point of going full scale in their go-to-market strategy, that's been really effective in creating passive income so they can do things like afford buybacks, so they could do things like pay their developers. Shout out to projects out there that don't. So they could do things like reinvest in their ecosystem, their community, and make all these promises that were in the white paper and on the roadmap a reality because they have the funds and resources to do it. You can't always rely just on the price action. There is a huge incentive here to actually monetize the audience that you've created, and centralized exchanges can help you accomplish that.
Speaking of a centralized exchange, you have a working product. So you are slightly different than, say, a meme token or some of the other products and ecosystems in the space. How important has influencer marketing been as an acquisition channel for you?
One of the most important, because if you think about the rebates that you share with them as a growth by acquisition cost, it's pretty much the quickest way to market. Like, you can create all the noise you want in the world. Will that noise create trading? And that's kind of the bottom line at an exchange. Will you have people making deposits? Will you have people creating activity? Will there be metrics that are going to get measured in places like TradingView, CoinMarketCapital, and all these sources of truth that we rely on as consumers to make educated decisions with not only what we trade, but where we trade?
Okay, I'm just going to keep it one more question on you, Andrew, just because I want to dig into this and relate some of the patterns I'm noticing with centralized exchanges to the whole space. So right now there's so many chains. There's L2s, there's L3s, there's multiple ecosystems, and it's becoming extremely competitive for attention. And there's also many centralized exchanges, and there's almost only so much liquidity and traders. How are you competing when every other exchange is also using affiliate traders and influencers?
This is a great question. So with the jurisdictions that we cover, we are very strategically positioned to provide access to the products and services that some people may not really have in their country today. So just ensuring that we are capturing the traders that really are bleeding away from some of these products that have either withdrawn from the country or didn't operate properly and now they have to close, or whatever that looks like. This has really been, this calendar year especially, a great time to be an exchange. Although there are 700 or so out there and operating, there is maybe 50 or 60 million traders right now that would love to trade altcoin futures on leverage somewhere, but maybe it's not available in their country, or maybe they haven't found the product that actually provides that to them and where they live.
And moving away from exchanges, let's go back into community and vibes. So Andy, right now we're moving into what feels like euphoria again, with token prices pumping. And when this happens, there's so much noise on the timelines. How do you effectively use content or influencers to break through the noise when everyone else is also equally shilling and pushing other projects?
I can only say this from my point of view, right? So just look at my Twitter, right? So I used to post very intelligent things, you know, opinion article and so forth. Damn it, man. No one is going to comment on me, right? Of course, sometimes, you know. But then when I start to post things that are more shit posts, where I call it, tons of people is going to come to me, you know. But then, do I enjoy doing that? I don't. All right, I really don't like that. But I use that as a metric to see if that particular token is something that I should even look at, right? If they can't get my attention, if they do not have enough community to draw my attention to them, I will not even consider. So I think social media, in my opinion, from a investing standpoint and non-financial advice, is that if your community are real, you can really consider looking at them, right? And if your community are real fake, all the usernames with all these numbers behind, then forget about it, right? But of course, they are still trying to make an effort, right? Better than those that are not. So I use that as a form of assessment, to whether I should buy or not buy. But then, because different people will have a different perspective, because I'm more like a buyer, right? So I'm not a KOL per se. But if you look at it from a KOL perspective, more people posting on them means that they can collect more money from the project. And they can just senselessly shield their project and say that they are good, man, they are the best. One post, 30,000, for example, right? So you have to really differentiate what you are trying to do if you are a project. And then, and of course, if you are an exchange, you also want the real deal coming to the exchange and doing the KYC, doing the EFTDs and so forth, right? So I still go back to the point that we need to have real community. If you want your price to be up high in this current market, you need community, right? You don't really need VCs just coming in to pump the price, because if you are not ready, all the coins will be in the hands of the VCs or the angel investors or whatever you want to call them. Then you will have a hard time trying to move the market later on. So I still felt that community-driven tokens, whether they are meme coin, L coins, or whatever coin, it should always be community first. And that's the reason why we are in the Web3 space. We empower them, we give the empowerment back to the users. Yep.
And if I may, I love Andy's point here. X and Discord are not really an amazing place to lecture an audience. It's not what people want to engage with on that medium. So you do have to be fun. You have to be funny. You have to have a reason for people to join that conversation. If you're always trying to be the smartest person in the room and you're condescending to the general audience that you have, no one's really going to want to expose themselves in that comment thread and be a part of that conversation where they may be subjected to ridicule or shitposting or whatever that looks like. You really need to be a real human being and authentic in every interaction that you have.
That's cool, man. I agree.
Yeah, I really like the meme showing the bell curve and how we flip between 40 IQ and 140 IQ, whether we're in a bull market or a bear market. Andy, I wanted to ask you a bit more about this distinction of real versus real fake. Especially right now, what actually has the most mind share on X is AI XBT, which is essentially an AI agent. And you did touch a little bit on the nuance of if you see a ton of these bot handles, but how do you differentiate real versus real fake, especially with so many people launching airdrop campaigns or questing or points farming, and they may be evangelizing, but also doing it for a certain incentive?
You actually see a lot of this in the mini games that were launched on Telegram, right? So I'll give you an example. So I mentioned about Meme Core, right? So the Layer 1 project, we did a very similar campaign. We sieve out millions of users out from our system. Right now, after sieving out, we have about 1.2 to 1.4 million users. Of course, there are still bots there, but those that are very botted ones, we have removed all of them, right? The reason why we remove them is not that we do not want to show hamster or catizens-like kind of numbers. Again, I'm not saying that they're fake, yeah? Sorry. But the thing is, what we really want to do is to sieve out all those real fakes so that we can then list on exchanges, and exchanges will love us a little bit more, right? That's one of the main things. Then if you come back to Twitter and so forth, or X, I think the fakes are really obvious, So when you put up a comment on X, and then they will come to you with all sorts of out of the topic kind of reply, So that's number one. Number two, you look at the You know, a lot of them are with the running number. Most of them are fake, or maybe they are from Chinese bot farm groups. You know, and then if you look at the engagement and the things that they follow, it's also strange. You know, they follow like Ronaldinho, nothing to do with crypto. You know, and then the last bit that I always look at for the comments, you know, especially when I talk to projects that I invested in, is that click on every one of the users. You know, if they do not follow you and they keep commenting on you, they're 100% fake. You know, there's no such thing as, oh, I love you, but I'm not going to follow you. You know, that kind of thing. And I think we have to be realistic, because now exchanges have very, very good tools to really look at, you know, whether this is a real user or not a real user, engagement level and so forth. So as a project, you know, coming back from a project angle, you know, you really need to do your best to sieve out all the fake ones, you know, and then if you are just a normal user who want to ape into a certain project, you should also use the same kind of metrics to see what you should buy and what you should not buy. You know, what is real users that are real, and what are the fake users that looks real that the project bought them. You know, so you really need to have a set of tools. I love to see if there's a bubble map equivalent to track user base, you know, to see whether they are real or not real. That would be something really interesting to see, you know.
So Dan, I'd love to dig more into your experience as a content creator. And the title of this panel is, how do we onboard more people into Web3? And what I've noticed being a full-time crypto marketer is oftentimes in a bear market, we're all a bit marketing to each other. I'm curious, with your content, who is your target audience and how do you attract them on the various channels that you may be on?
So my audience are retail traders, people that just want to get started. It's typically people who are getting started with crypto or on a large centralized exchange and have never done anything DeFi or managed their own wallets. And the problem with getting them into DeFi in that space is that it's too complicated. There's too many steps, there's too many things to remember, and there's too many ways for them to lose money. So it has to be a very gradual process, just because crypto is still at such a early and complicated stage that, you know, you can't onboard your grandmother or just a random person who wants to start trading today, just because there's too many risks, there's too many things to learn. But if exchange like Robinhood or something lists a meme coin and it's like 5 cents, people are going to go all in on that. So it's all about making it easier for people to get involved. But when we're in a bull market, more people are interested, so they're actually willing to learn.
And from your experience of creating content, what has your most popular content been about?
Some stuff like using Coinbase, creating a cryptocurrency, as of recently XRP, because I covered that because it was going crazy. So I wanted to create some content that kind of shared the landscape of what's going on with that and other opportunities and why it's not really at an all-time high right now.
Okay, great. So it actually sounds like a lot of educational content to onboard people. Since we're actually here in Taipei, I usually do a lot of the marketing in the West, and we have some folks here that it seems like both of you, or maybe all of you, are quite global. Is there any distinction between influencer marketing in Asia versus in the West?
I don't know.
I would say yes. In the West, the medium of cryptocurrency, blockchains in general, it was a boogeyman for so many years in the national media. It's only really recently seen that kind of shift in the narrative where people are now being encouraged to learn about these products and participate in this system. So if I take like Crypto Banter as an example, they have Sheldon the Sniper School, and that's an excellent place to engage with like learn to earn, actually watch tutorials of how to set up really complicated trades, and give you thought leadership on how these products function, not only on centralized exchanges, but also on the DEX. And that's just so crucial for people finally making that transition now, because in a lot of cases, you know, you're not going to be able to go to your money manager or your broker dealer to go take a position on Pepe. You're going to have to learn this yourself, sign up for an exchange, and execute your own strategy with the tools that are available. So finding the source of truth to learn these tools the best, and then to be able to actually execute your strategy effectively has been critical. And in other parts of the world where crypto has always kind of been, not, let's say, negative in the narrative, it's been evolving in how they create content. Now it's pretty wild of how they create, engagement and onboard people. You have to throw a yacht party. You have to fly people into Dubai. You have to really, in the East, think more creatively beyond education, because consumers are sophisticated. They've had these products and services at the mainstream level for a lot longer than the West. How do you still reach that customer?
What is the craziest KOL content you've seen? Where I live in the crypto sphere, I'm usually mainly on X. So kind of the dark side of it is KOL allocations or paying thread boys and these shillers. And I imagine there's so many other channels that people are using in APAC or other markets. I'm curious, what is the most creative influencer content you may have seen?
I think that's going to be a really tough one, because I want to say this, but that's a little bit explicit, but I've seen, okay, because if you look at the exchanges and so forth, they have already bought almost all the ads that they can have, right? But then some exchanges are actually going for the more explicit content, right? It could be maybe the OnlyFans kind of content, But I think that's very clever, because that is like a blue ocean, There's nobody really touching on that, And if you ask me, is it creative? I think it's creative, right? At least they are trying to have some special reach out to their members and so forth, right? So creative part, I think is there, But then coming back to the earlier question about East and West, right? I felt that, if you look at the Chinese-speaking market, maybe I don't separate them into just two, but if you look at the Chinese speaking market, a lot of their shilling content are actually on the verge of being totally black, because a lot of these shilling contents are just illegal, If you look at the English side, things are a little bit more subtle in a certain manner. So I do see that there's a big difference in the kind of marketing that they are approaching, right? And then again, if you look at the Chinese-speaking market and also the Southeast Asian market, a lot of these projects actually adopted a referral or even a multi-level marketing kind of a marketing concept, where it's actually quite effective if you want to get people to buy in. But of course, they might not know the product, but they can get a lot of buy-in, to that. So that's something really, really different. And I don't see that, in the US and the Europe, at least it's not that active, right? So that's my few cents worth.
And he's loosened my brain on this one, because I've seen trading competitions, airdrop rewards, all these very basic campaigns, and everybody does those at this point. It's not too engaging or creative. Experiential marketing is now emerging. Like here at WEEX, we've just partnered with Michael Owen. Michael Owen's a world champion soccer player, coach of a Champion League team. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could fly you to watch him coach a game live and in person, as opposed to just giving you USDT when you traded? These types of experiences are kind of the next level up in what people in the audience are looking for to differentiate, like, okay, do I want to go trade to win a Ferrari? Do I want to trade to get tickets to the World Cup or the World Series? There's a lot of brands now that are trying to focus more on getting to the consumer in a more meaningful and impactful way. And I think that's really the most creative thing I've seen in the last 12 months.
I also want to add on. So I love how the big brand play right now, give the experience play and so forth. But if you come from a sponsorship angle, for example, I see Bing X with Chelsea. Previously I was with Bybit, leading all the partnership with Red Bull and so forth. One thing that I really want to say is that different target audience who have really different kinds of needs and so forth. And then from an exchange perspective, actually the ROI to get users, real users back from this conversion method is actually very, very low. We can see the glamorous side of it, right? But then if you look at the real numbers behind it, is very, very low. I rather be like Andrew, I'll just buy a good experience package for during maybe the F1 period, you know, and then reward them, right? And then not going on the sponsorship route, because the sponsorship route, you know, is really expensive, and the ROI is really, really low, you know.
And you may not be marketing to crypto people. That's the other thing I've learned the hard way when I first got into this side of the business, that just creating general noise doesn't really attract the result that any KOL, influencer, or exchange is looking for. You're trying to get to the type of consumer that actually represents the demographic that you built the product for and that you're trying to serve. So just throwing your logo up on a billboard in Times Square doesn't really convert if Times Square is full of tourists and people delivering food and people that just don't trade crypto.
Amazing. I think we are at time. There was a lot of great insights on kind of the future of influencer marketing and how to tap into audiences in a really crowded market, as well as experience from a content creator themselves on how to grow a channel. So thank you everyone for listening, and thank you to my panelists.
Thank you for hosting, Emily. You were
Thank you.
great. Dan, thank you for having us on. And Andy, it's been such a pleasure to meet you.
Thanks, man, Andrew.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for staying.
Yeah.